6. 3. Huge.
He had Sabathia bending. He didn't break.
Sabathia wins the Battle of Wills.
We knew what we had to do.
Driven to deep left. It is gone.
And the guys went out and did it.
Back to back for the Yankees.
We were very relaxed. The guys weren't pressing. The guys were still having a lot of fun.
They're a very good team, no doubt about it. That's why they're the defending champions.
To continue to keep putting pressure on.
We got to climb. We got to get out of the hole that we got ourselves into.
They understand what we have to do.
You have to manage it like there's no tomorrow.
Rangers ballpark in Arlington, where the tarp has been on and off because of pregame showers. This is where the series began a week ago, and it's where the Rangers hope it ends tonight. This American League Championship Series coverage on TBS is presented by Capital One Venture Card. It's Game 6 in the best of 7 as the Texas Rangers host the New York Yankees, with the Rangers leading the series 3-2. Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Arlington, Texas. I'm Ernie Johnson. This is John Smoltz, and this is Ron Darling. It's a 3-2 Texas lead in this best of 7. And one thing we've seen through 5 games is that the MVP candidates for each side have certainly played like that.
You know, for the Yankees, you can really make the argument that the best second baseman in the game is Robinson Cano. He's done everything you could ask for. 319 average, 29 home runs during the regular season, 109 RBIs, and even more importantly, he's going to probably get his first Gold Glove this winter. That's how good he's been on defense. And for the Rangers, the natural, Josh Hamilton has been outstanding. He's put up numbers this season that haven't been put up since Lou Gehrig. And he's the kind of guy that can catch it, can field, also has that great speed. Whichever MVP plays better tonight might decide the outcome of the game.
Hamilton and Cano have each homered 4 times in this series. Nobody in League Championship Series history has ever hit 5. Meantime, John, on the mound tonight, you have the same matchup you had in Game 2. What do you look for tonight?
Well, the first thing is all hands on deck, meaning everybody's available for tonight's game except for tomorrow's starters. For Phil Hughes, for the Yankees, he has to do a better job of closing out hitters when he gets ahead of them. In Game 2, he was not able to do that. If he wants to do that, he's going to hand the ball over to Andy Pettitte for Game 7. Colby Lewis, on the other side, is definitely wanting to end this right here. And only thing you can understand from him is, can he control his composure and control the walks and turn it over to a Game 1 start for Cliff Lee in their World Series debut.
Yeah, the Texas Rangers hoping when this night's end, they are going to go to the World Series for the first time. The Yankees hoping they're headed to Game 7, number 14 in their postseason history. The first pitch is coming up.
The American League Championship Series coverage on TBS is presented by Capital One Venture Card. What's in your wallet? And brought to you in part by UPS. Let UPS put the power of logistics to work for you. Visit thenewlogistics.com. By Subway. Try the newest Subway $5 footlong sub. The Lopez Subway Club. Subway. Eat fresh. And by Corona, who invites you to find your beach.
It has been overcast all day in Arlington, Texas, and not until the last half hour to 45 minutes before game time did we start to see some rain here. On and off. It's 81 degrees, and the chance of rain continues through the night. Supposed to be a little tougher tomorrow. Let's get more on the weather picture from Craig Sager. Segs?
Well, thanks, AJ. It is overcast. We do have intermittent showers probably lasting within the next hour. Then it may clear up. It's funny, the national anthem was concluded moments ago and was sang by B.J. Thomas, whose #1 hit in 1970 was Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head. He's an Arlington native, a big Rangers fan. He's been singing the national anthem here since 1975. He said he's never had to sing it with raindrops falling on his head. Crew Chief Jerry Davis and groundskeeper Dennis Klein have been watching the radar the last couple of hours, keeping a very close eye on it. The manager's also been informed. In fact, Yankee manager Joe Girardi was down there with them watching the radar. their emphasis was, listen, we don't have starting pitchers warming up, then shutting down, then warming up again. Girardi said to crew chief Jerry Davis, make a decision and stick to it. Jerry Davis said, Coach, I will, and we are going to start on time. EJ?
All right, thank you very much, Craig. Traffic and weather together on the 5s from Craig Sager. This American League Championship Series coverage on TBS brought to you in HD by BMW, the ultimate driving machine. Here's the Yankees lineup as Joe Girardi trots them out for Game 6. Derek Jeter in the leadoff spot. Curtis Granderson in the 2-hole against the right-handed starter. Robinson Cano for the second time in this series in the 3 spot. In fact, the second time this season. Alex Rodriguez hits cleanup. And then it's first baseman Lance Berkman. Nick Swisher plays right field. Jorge Posada behind the plate hitting 7th. The designated hitter, Marcus Timms. And Brett Gardner plays left field and bats 9th. Colby Lewis on the mound tonight for the Texas Rangers.
Well, for Colby Lewis, as we talked about, he's pitched all over the place, but nothing quite like a Game 6 that you know if you win, you're sending your team to the World Series. He has dominated right-handers, got a really good slider. He pitched effective in his first game against the Yankees. And the one thing, Ron, it's been a theme for the pitchers. Pitch ahead, good success. Pitch from behind, these hitters have been really good.
You know, especially with Colby Lewis, because his best pitch is his out pitch, the slider and curveball that he uses to rack up those strikeouts, 193 this season. So it'll be interesting to see if he can get to that put-away pitch.
Texas Rangers head for their positions, as do the 6 members of the umpiring crew. Brian Gorman behind the plate. Jerry Davis at first. Tony Randazzo makes the calls at second, and Jim Reynolds is at third. Down the lines, Angel Hernandez in left and Field and Culbreth patrolling the right field line.
For Colby Lewis, he now has an extra right-hander in there because of the injury to Mark Teixeira. So 3 right-handers he can pitch to if he needs to get out of trouble. But look at those numbers. Awfully good. And on the year, you know, he was a guy that just didn't get many runs. That's why he had a losing record, but it wasn't indicative of how he pitched. He doesn't give up many hits. He will walk guys from time to time. As you look, 8 walks to 11 strikeouts. That's the only concern for Ron Washington is can he keep his stuff long enough? For this game, it's all about go as hard as you can, as long as you can, because the bullpen's going to be a big factor in tonight's game.
For Colby Lewis, it's really come full circle. He was signed by this team in 1999. He played here 2002 to 2004 and was 10-9 in 2003. And then came all the journeys. Detroit signed him in 04. He missed the entire 05 season because of rotator cuff soreness. Pitched in 2 games in 2006. Washington signed him in November of 06. He didn't pitch there. Oakland signed him in 07. He pitched in 26 games. Kansas City signed him and then released him a month later. Then he went to Japan for 2 seasons where he was 26 and 17. And now he is back in the Texas Rangers uniform and pitching in the biggest game in franchise history.
Hurts your feelings to be released like that, doesn't it? This is his uniform for the Hiroshima Carp, 2008 and 2009. He said one of the things going over there, he learned how to pitch with his breaking ball, and that's why he had so much success this season.
And one of the things you didn't mention, Ernie, as a DH, he hit 3 home runs in Japan. You gotta like that from a pitcher.
You especially. Well, these fans in Arlington have been waiting all day long to get here and make some noise, and boy, have they. In between, putting the umbrellas up and down and the ponchos, taking those on and off, and we are ready to go in Game 6 of the American League Championship Series. Derek Jeter steps in. First pitch swinging. Andrews in the hole. Strike one down.
Defensively behind Colby Lewis in this 6th game. David Murphy gets the start against right-handed pitching. He's in left. Josh Hamilton in center. That moves Nelson Cruz to right field. In the infield, Young, Andrews, Kinsler, and Moreland. Mitch Mullins had a nice series in this ALCS, and Benjamin Melita and his gold gloves behind the plate.
Here's Granderson. .385 in the postseason, .333 in this series for the Yankees center fielder. Three balls and a strike to the Yankees' #2 hitter, who's walked 6 times in this postseason.
We can see when Colby's out there, Ron, he doesn't mess around. He gets the ball, he's on the mound, he's got a little side straddle, not completely like Cliff Lee, but he wants the ball and he's going to continue to pitch fast.
The Yankees with a base runner with 1 down here in the first.
Walks is what got C.J. Wilson in trouble in the 5th game. Let's see if it gets Lewis in trouble in this one.
This guy can get you there. Robinson Cano, you talked about him in the pregame segment, Ron, and he has not cooled down for a second.
Well, we were kidding the other day saying he has a slump-proof swing, but so far in the series, he has had a slump-proof swing.
421 in this series, 8 out of 19, 4 home runs and 5 runs batted in. Swings at the first pitch and fouls it back. Opponents hit just .227 against Colby Lewis in the regular season. Good for #8 in the American League.
Always found the team that was down. It's going to be interesting to see how aggressive the Yankee hitters are going to be. You saw Jeter swing at the first pitch. Now Cano. When you're down 3-2, you want to get on the board first, quiet the crowd, get your team going, give Phil Hughes something to work with.
There goes Granderson. Pop up behind third. 2 down.
Well, you can see Lewis trying to come inside. That really has been the problem with the Ranger pitchers against Cano. They've had an inability to get inside. That time Lewis did.
The expected welcome for the former Ranger, Alex Rodriguez. Just 176 in the series, 3 out of 17. And he's only knocked in 3 runs in the entire postseason without a home run.
Only 1 home run in his last 68 at-bats here.
Boy, he missed that pitch, John. That was a hanger.
Yeah, you just don't see A-Rod when he's going good missing that pitch. That's usually a fan's
souvenir.
Souvenir.
Huh?
You know, with the infield, they watered it before the game, Ron, and then they weren't able to get the tarp on during the national anthem. And so it's going to be a little bit of an interesting track for base stealers because there was a lot of water that the infield received without the tarp on. Actually, both times they put the tarp on, it stopped raining.
2-1. Actually, that entire national anthem episode, that you got to salute the grounds crew of the Texas Rangers for their patience as they waited for the Marine color guard to march off the field before covering it up. And meantime, B.J. Thomas made for dry ground.
I'd have been patient too. They had rifles, didn't they?
Tempting fate, though, as Sager said. Raindrops kept falling on B.J. Thomas's head.
2-1. There goes Granderson. This is popped foul. And out of play. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Well, one thing that did stay dry the entire time was the mound. You can see the surface they put on top. Sometimes, you know, that diamond dry or whatever they use if you got clay underneath, these pitchers are going to be going to the backside of the mound and using a tool to get the mud out of their cleats because it's important that they have the best traction of anybody.
Granderson going again. Throw. Got it. Benji Molina, who's been a Gold Glover, throws a strike. We go to the bottom of the first. Fellas, second base umpire Tony Randazzo nailed this call.
One of the things on a muddy track is that when you go for a slide, your leg will sometimes pop up and not stay down. When it was up in the air, that's when Kinsler applied the tag. Nice call by Randazzo.
We head to the bottom half of the first inning. Elvis Andrus will lead it off for the Rangers, followed by Michael Young. Then it's Josh Hamilton, Vlad Guerrero in the DH spot, followed by Cruz, then Kinsler, David Murphy in left, Benji Molina behind the plate, and Mitch Moreland, who's had a solid series at the plate, batting ninth against Phil Hughes.
Phil Hughes has an exploding fastball, one that the hitters don't seem to get on top. We're going to see how he establishes it early on in the game. You look at his numbers already in this postseason. Really had a scoreless streak in the stadium, and then it was thwarted by the Rangers' onslaught of runs in Game 2.
He's had one good start in the postseason versus Minnesota, one bad start here against the Texas Rangers.
Went 4+ in Game 2. Gave up 10 hits, 7 earned runs, a home run to David Murphy along the way as Andrus bunts foul. The Yankees well aware of what Andrus likes to do. Gets a lot of infield hits, a lot of bunt hits. And he is the key to that Texas running game. Inside and missed, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Hughes started the year 10-1 through June 19th. Didn't allow a home run on the road until July 30th. That ball's hit hard to center. It's going to split the gap. And it's a stand-up double for Elvis Andrus.
One of the things that really was troublesome for Phil Hughes in the first game, he'd get 2 strikes, but wasn't able to put the hitters away. Nice hitting here by Andrus, and the defense, which had Granderson playing the right center, allowed that big gap in left center field, and by the time Granderson got to it, a double for Elvis Andrus.
His team-high 17th base hit of the postseason. And here's Michael Young. Rain has returned, as you can see.
Michael Young's going to try the best he can based on the way Phil Hughes pitches him to try and drive the ball to right field and get a runner on third with less than 2 outs, or get a hit and possibly score him.
What do you do when you pitch in the rain, John?
You know, the biggest thing is, as long as you know your footing's fine, you just try to get the grip of the baseball. And typically, you're going to get and go through a lot of baseballs in this game. But you just really want to know that your feet are fine on that foundation when you drive right there.
John, you were talking about Young and what he can do to try to make a productive out. You thwart that as a pitcher by pounding the right-handed hitter in or throwing a curveball, which is apt to be pulled to the left side.
One and two to Michael Young.
Jorge Posada already going out to Phil Hughes, probably to talk to him. He had pointed out to Andrus at second base, make sure you keep an eye on him. But, you know, for a young pitcher, you do want to watch the runner on second base, but don't take away from the pitch you're going to deliver to Michael Young.
Again, took a shot the other way, fouled it off.
Those breaking pitches have been up. He's got to show Michael Young he can get this pitch down and get him swinging over the top. Those are two pitches he could have handled and hurt Phil Hughes. Make the adjustment now before it starts bleeding into your head, all these two-strike hits that the Rangers are getting.
In game two, the Rangers had 5 two-strike hits against Hughes.
John, he's putting himself in a good position, but once he gets the 2 strikes, those pitches are just too good.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a hitter and you get to 3 and 2, 2-strike hits are just what they are. But when you got a 1 and 2, 0 and 2 count and you surrender hits, that's hard to take for a pitcher because you're on the attack, and that's the aggression that you need to have to put them away.
Gets Young swinging, blowing away, 1 down.
Joe Girardi's defense for the Yankees this evening. Greg Gardner, Granderson, and Swisher. They've been the outfield for every game. Alex Rodriguez, Jeter, Robinson Cano, Lance Berkman, of course, for the injured Mark Teixeira at first base. And Jorge Posada, 5-time All-Star, great postseason player behind the plate.
Josh Hamilton was only 2 out of 18 in the first series against Tampa Bay, coming off the rib injury. 6 out of 19, 316 with 4 home runs in this series against the Yankees. Hit to left. Andrews will be held up at third. And they're at the corners with 1 down.
Well, there aren't many times that you're not going to score Andrews from second base on a base hit. Only time it's going to happen is when a guy like Hamilton up there who hits a bullet to left field. Dave Anderson, the third base coach, no chance to score Andrus after this ball was picked up on 2 hops by Gardner. Discretion, the better part of valor there. It's like trying to stop a train with Andrus coming around third. If he was third base coach, I think he would have sent him.
I think just like the new video games where you actually do it by running, he was doing it right there, trying to get Andrus to pick him up and put him down and score that first run. You know, with the power that Josh Hamilton has, I was surprised how shallow Gardner played.
Only because of his speed. He plays the shallowest left field of anyone in the American League.
Well, let's see what happens first and third. Remember game 2 of this series? Same runners were on base. Andrus scored on the back end of a double steal. Swiped home for the first run. Here's Vladimir Guerrero.
The double steal in game 2. Hamilton off running. Never looked back was Elvis Andrus by Jorge Posada. And as soon as Posada delivered the ball to second, scored easily.
The Rangers cleanup man has no runs batted in this series. And only one for the postseason. You see the vast discrepancy in getting it done with runners in scoring position in this series. 1-1 to Guerrero. Breaking pitch over, a ball and 2 strikes.
Guerrero shaking his head. He said not only inside, but that ball was high. Big looping breaking ball from Hughes, John.
Yeah, it's just a little too high right now. If he's going to get out of trouble, he has a great breaking ball, but it's got to get down.
There goes Hamilton. Bouncing to the right side. That will score the game's first run. Rangers 1-0.
About pushing the right buttons. If Hamilton's not going, you have a chance to turn 2 on this ground ball to Cano. Instead, only 1 out, and the first RBI for Guerrero as Andrus scores.
Hamilton in scoring position now at second with 2 down. Here's Nelson Cruz, who left game 5 with a tight hamstring. Sounded from talking to Ron Washington tonight that was much more of a precautionary move than it was a serious injury at the time for Cruz. He didn't want it to develop into something more serious, and so took him out.
He hurt both his hamstrings this season. The reason he came out of the game is because he complained of where his most recent hamstring injury had been, and that's why Ron Washington set him down.
Andrews a leadoff double. Young struck out. Hamilton a single put him at the corners, and then a Vladimir Guerrero ground out to second plated the game's first run. And the breaking pitch way up high, John.
Well, if you're Phil Hughes, ever since game 4, about that time frame, you've been waiting for this start for redemption. But early on, whether it's the warm-up, the inconsistency with the rain, his pitches have not come out the way you want them to. You got to will yourself to make pitches in this situation. Keep it to just 1 run.
Fly ball to right. That'll end the inning. But the Rangers get on the board. Elvis Andrus starts it with a double and scores the game's first run. This American League Championship Series coverage on TBS is presented by Capital One Venture Card. We move to the top half of the second inning, and one thing that caught stealing did at the end of the first, it allowed the Ranger fans to boo Alex Rodriguez again as he was at the plate when Granderson was thrown out, and he leads it off here in the second.
There's been a lot of hanging sliders from both pitchers early in this game, John. Is that overthrowing maybe?
I think it's a combination of just, with the weather and going to the rosin and trying to have a good feel for the baseball. But I think it's, to your point, there's some anxiety there, too, that neither one of these guys has had much experience in games like this. And you always wonder how each guy's going to handle it as the game approaches.
One is lined, and Elvis Andrus flags it down. Ought to be 22 and have springs.
Well, we talked about the maturation of Andrews and his defense. Really had the time, that line drive, have the hops to get up there, and what a fine play to get the first out here in the second inning.
Here's Lance Berkman. Berkman, of course, pressed into duty as the starting first baseman with the injury to Mark Teixeira in New York. Teixeira with the right hamstring injury, and then Berkman hit the deck the other night, chasing a foul ball. He had those molded cleats on at the time and would later change to the regular cleats.
You know what's interesting is Mark Teixeira mentioned that he had said something that it's almost like concrete over there with a little sand on top, and they're going to have to try to change that.
The 0-2 threw that ball about 51 feet. The thing about Berkman, too, the other night after that happened, trainers came out and they were talking to him, but really hadn't asked him anything. He just volunteered that he knew who the president was and what the date was.
He's been through that game before.
Hit well to center, but easy for Josh Hamilton. 2 up and 2 down.
What's interesting about that at bat, you really want to elevate the ball to Lance Berkman. He's much better down, but I've seen the recipe so far that Colby's got to be feeling pretty good as some of these pitches are staying in the park, and he's got to make some adjustments because this Yankee lineup's too good.
He must be living right. 2 BBs for outs.
Here's Swisher. Hitting just 194 in the postseason, 6 out of 31. And in this series, 105, 2 out of 19.
Those last 2 curveballs were sharp and good.
Not that one.
It's funny when you watch Benji Molina, when he gives the curveball, if he wants it outside, he kind of touches the inside of his left leg. If he wants it inside, he touches the inside of his right leg. Same sign, and gives the direction at the same time.
First strikeout. A 1-2-3 inning. That was out number 1.
In the postseason, there is a natural give and take. But to achieve ultimate success, dominance cannot go both ways. The man on the mound must make it a one-way street. It's freakishly good performances sending opponents into a tailspin and fans into hysterics.
The strikeout king.
It's pitching to near perfection in a duel for the ages.
Holiday has thrown a no-hitter.
See the best arms in the game hurling toward history. Watch every game of the League Championship Series on Fox and TBS.
Let's take a look at the language of the game, brought to you by Foster's. Tonight we focus on the category most productive outs in the regular season, moving a runner along, knocking a runner in. Rangers with 304, and you saw Vlad Guerrero do that very thing his first time up as he grounded to second to score a run. Here's Ian Kinsler, takes a strike. Kinsler homered 3 times in the first series against Tampa Bay.
Yeah, those numbers in the postseason, 333. Most of that damage, as you mentioned, Ernie, was in the ALDS.
In this series, 222, 4 out of 18, no home runs, and 2 runs batted in. He leads it off in the bottom half of the second. On a hop to Rodriguez. 1 down. Let us check in again with Craig Sager. Segs?
Well, the theme for the Rangers tonight, don't try to do too much. Hitting coach Clint Hurdle has a formula that he developed with Zach Rosenthal in Colorado. They want at least 17 productive team plate appearances. Hits are good, but so are walks, sacrifices, advancing runners, and working the pitch count. 17 is the number they want. It's held true to form. In the 2 losses, they've had less than 17. In the 3 wins, they've averaged above that.
Thanks, Craig. Here's David Murphy. Murphy's 1 home run in this postseason came off the guy he's facing right here in Game 6.
You know, for Phil Hughes' changeup, he's got kind of a short arm fastball, and it just gives less room for error for that changeup. You got to be that much better in getting your arm out and following through with the same fastball motion, and those 2 are just lagging.
2-2.
And what happens is if you don't create the arm speed and let the grip take the miles per hour off, they just kind of fade and they're never an effective pitch. And those 2 have to be closer to the plate to be effective.
Murphy runs the count full.
I think you're right, John. I think one of the things he does, kind of a Western Union telegram when he shows his changeup. You know it's coming.
Murphy caught looking. Though he didn't think so. 2 down.
Well, so far, home plate umpire Brian Gorman has had a very big strike zone for both these pitchers. That ball you can see almost in the other batter's box on our pitch tracks. And it makes it much easier for both Hughes and Lewis to go there. If you are Lewis sitting on the bench, you say to yourself, I'm going to have that outside corner all day long.
Absolutely. That's where you know each umpire is going to give you a little bit more on one side of the plate. The Yankees are going to take advantage of it if he continues to pound that part of the plate.
The 3 of us in the booth all wondering who will be the first to say Huey Lewis when you have this Hughes and Lewis pitching matchup. Got out of Game 2 without doing it. Here's Benji Molina. That'll be easy for Swisher. And that'll be an easy inning for Phil Hughes as we head to the 3rd in Texas. We head to the 3rd. Visit TBS Hot Corner at MLB.com/TBS Hot Corner to sign up and watch live video companion coverage of this game and every ALCS game. Windy Arlington, where we had some rain prior to the first pitch, and then just a little bit once the game started. They added some more of that drying agent around the bag at first between innings. And Jorge Posada steps in against Colby Lewis, who was allowed a walk in 2 innings of work. Josh Hamilton, 1 down. Had some Yankees swinging at the first pitch in this one. Nothing to show for it so far. Well, here's Marcus Timms.
Their game plan has to be, they want to stay away from that devastating slider. That's why they're swinging at every first pitch fastball they see.
A ball and a strike to the Yankees DH. 2 out of 13 in this series. He has homered in the postseason. That came in the clincher against Minnesota. And that will be easy for Andrews.
You mentioned Kobe Lewis. See, you almost had me doing it.
Had you doing what?
Huey Lewis.
Who's the news?
What you got there, John?
He received 4.6 runs per start. Phil Hughes 7.5. But what's more impressive is that Colby had 14 games of 2 runs or less. So that 4.6 composite doesn't really tell the story for those games that he pitched most through the year.
So in some ways he could have had Phil Hughes' year.
Absolutely.
Brett Gardner with 2 down takes a strike. Sailed through
3. Taco Bell's new Double XL Chalupa. Double the beef, loads of nacho cheese sauce, and tons of toppings in a monster chalupa shell. It's so big, you better call it a closer.
Don't worry, kid. I got it.
Go get him, Mo. Nope. Think outside the bun.
TBS this November, Lopez Tonight. The comedy continues right after Conan. Don't miss new episodes starting November 8th at midnight only on TBS. Our producer tonight is Glenn Diamond, our director Lonnie Dale. We appreciate you tuning in tonight on TBS for a highly anticipated Game 6 of the American League Championship Series. Here's Mitch Moreland, number 9 hitter in the Ranger lineup.
Moreland has been so impressive with the at-bats he's taken, and put it in perspective in this series. He's got 2 hits off Mariano Rivera. No one has ever gotten 3 in a postseason series.
He has been solid at the bottom of that order. Came up empty there. In fact, look at the 7, 8, 9 hitters tonight for the Texas Rangers. They've knocked in 10 runs in this series. And when Molina didn't play the other day, Matt Traynor delivered. Moreland hit 9 home runs this year, which was among the leaders among the rookie crop in the American League. Brennan Bosch led it. Fine Tiger outfielder with that silky smooth stroke. He hit 14. A ball and 2 strikes.
I'd be walking too. Those are the pitches that he's been given. They may not be strikes, but he's been calling. Great job by Phil Hughes. There's your bailout situation. Keep going over there. And you're going to get the benefit of a borderline call. Not that one, but good pitch.
That was the 40th pitch for Phil Hughes. And it runs the count full.
Same as the changeup. And what I mean of that is the curveball. If he doesn't get his timing right, he can't get his hand over the ball, and he actually gets below it, which is causing a higher curveball. You got to get your hand on top, get your hand out of the glove in position to throw the pitch.
Good at bat for Moreland, who had fallen behind 0-2.
young man really has an idea when he goes up there what he wants to do in his at-bat. Works the count, can foul off tough pitches.
He draws a leadoff walk here in the third.
You have an 0-2 count, and then Moreland gets the walk. Almost unacceptable for a pitcher to take.
And now in steps the guy who has not had a haircut since spring training, Elvis Andrus. Not about to change a thing now when you're a win away from going to the World Series.
He's hoping he doesn't have to get the Clippers out until the calendar turns to November.
Picked up his 17th hit of the postseason, a leadoff double, and came around to score the game's only run. Moreland taking off for second. The only play for Hughes on the tapper is to first. One down with a runner at second. You are watching the American League Championship Series coverage on TBS. It's presented by Capital One Venture Card. Rangers getting on the board in the first after the leadoff double by Andrus, and a one-out single by Hamilton put him at the corners. Guerrero's ground out scored Andrus.
Tells you a lot about the Texas Rangers and Ron Washington. Hit and running with Elvis Andrus there.
Talked about early on. You look at the bullpen, there's going to be, with the exception of September call-ups, more people. Look at on your far left of the screen, CC Sabathia has never pitched out of the bullpen. It's all hands on deck, and we've talked about this situation being at any time Joe Girardi's going to go. And look at the Texas Rangers filled a seat left.
It is game 6 of the series, but it's the second straight game 7 for the Yankees.
You know, defensively, we can see Michael Young has had a lot of hits to right field, but Gardner is almost playing him as a left-handed hitter that would pull the ball. Lots of room down the line.
I asked CC what he was going to do if he had the opportunity to get in the game. He goes, I don't know. I don't know what. I've never done it. I don't know what it's going to take me. And I said, well, adrenaline should take care of that. More than likely it'll be later in the game for a situation, but you can see maybe activity starting to move around.
To right, Swisher will make the play, and Moreland back to second.
You know, the one thing that stinks in this type of game, Ron, for a starting pitcher is you're not going to be given much opportunity at all. If you don't show your manager or your pitching coach that you absolutely have what it takes to pitch 5, 6, 7 innings, he's only going to go on what he sees.
2 outs and a base open. Everybody in the ballpark knows what awaits Josh Hamilton.
Used to be's don't count anymore when you get to this time in the postseason. 18 wins are gone.
And the ball gets away. Hughes threw high on ball 1 off the glove of Posada.
Girardi's going to come out to try to settle down his young pitcher. We saw A.J. Burnett in his start almost throw it over the head of Posada, and again, not even close.
I know it seems easy. You'd be surprised how many pitchers have trouble doing this. mean, more times than not, you're going to see it. But, man, you got to make it firm over there.
This may be the most closely watched intentional pass of all time. All three. So they're at first and third.
Well, this is just simply kind of not going through the motions, but the ball's coming out. He almost pushes it to the right side, and the ball sails instead of going on a straight line. The last couple, he had a little more oomph on it to keep it going straight.
It was a lack of concentration. It was nonchalant. Can't afford it in this game.
Here's Guerrero. Hughes hoping to coax a double play ball out of him. Or excuse me, just coaxing out of Guerrero, who knocked in the game's first run. And he waved at that. 0-1. That RBI in the first was his first of this series.
Difficult it is to pitch to Vladimir Guerrero. You can't even bounce the pitch because he'll still hit it. This against Baltimore, bounced a curveball to him, kind of flicked it out there like he was playing cricket. That'll hurt your feelings if you're a pitcher.
Phil Hughes just got a real generous call. Let's see if he backs it up and tries to go back in there on Vladdy. Felt, Ron, when you had the hitter shaking his head, make him shake his head even worse by going in there more. Maybe he'll get aggressive to swing at
it. First and third with 2 out for the Rangers cleanup hitter. There goes Hamilton. Blooper behind second. Cano makes the play, and the Yankees get out of it.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent.
Top half of the fourth in Arlington. Game 6 of the ALCS. The Rangers leading 3-2 and 1-0. Top of the Yankee order and Derek Jeter. Jeter grounded out to short his first time. He's 4 out of 9 lifetime against Colby Lewis with a couple of home runs. in postseason history. See Derek Jeter's place on that list for going deep. With the dangerous Robinson Cano on deck, we await a 2-2 to Jeter. Lewis knocked it down and just did get him. Didn't try to glove the comebacker, just got a body on it, and the flip just got the Yankee leadoff hitter.
Well, sometimes it's better to be 6'4", 240 pounds, but the mistake he made there, never field that with your glove, field that with your bare hand, and made a much easier play, and just got Jeter out of first base.
Well, here's Granderson. Jeter, Granderson, and Cano here in the fourth. He's been the only base runner for the Yankees. He was thrown out stealing to end the first.
Knowing the umpire's strike zone, he is giving the other side of the plate, Brian Gorman, but not inside to the left-handers.
And the problem is you're trying to get this guy out inside.
Says he did his first at bat. He really turns on a pitch and fouls it off. That ball is hit a ton, but way foul.
Well, he's established in, John.
Yeah, he's gone in twice to see if he could try and expand the zone outside.
Missed with the 3-2, and he draws his second walk of the night. Game 2 of this series, Robinson Cano against Colby Lewis. Way up in the second deck.
A mythic home run. And we talked about in the open today, which MVP candidate, Hamilton or Cano, is going to strike first.
Cano popped to third his first time.
Well, the thing about it, when you look at the hit chart for Robinson Cano, he can get his hits to all fields. The reason he hit 319 this season. But the one thing left out of that is that to left field, he has a lot of power.
In parentheses, the hits here in the postseason for Cano. Hit hard. Kinsler with the stop. There's one. There's two. Kinsler stopped a bullet. All right, boys and girls, Game 3 of the World Series on Saturday, October 30th, starts at 6:30 p.m. Eastern on Fox. Make sure to log on to MLB.com/Halloween and submit a picture to be considered for a special World Series of Costumes promotion. Winning pictures will be shown during the telecast of the game. Do not miss out on a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Nelson Cruz to center for the first out in the bottom of the fourth. It's time to talk, brought to you by Charles Schwab. And just moments ago, we talked to Yankees manager Joe Girardi about the fact the Yanks have hit some balls pretty well, but nothing to show for it.
Yeah, we got to find some holes. Robbie Cano just hit a bullet to the second baseman. It's a good play by Ian Kinsler, and Al's hit a ball hard. Berkey's hit a ball hard. Got to keep swinging. Some of them are going to fall in.
Joe, a little bit of nerves. I mean, he survived it. What are your thoughts on Phil Hughes so far?
Well, I think he survived it. I think that's exactly right. And, as you know, John, the first couple innings, the starter is sometimes hard to settle in, and then you can settle in after that. And he got a big out of Vlad Guerrero the last inning, and hopefully he can get on a roll for us.
Thank you, Joe.
Thanks, guys.
Phil Hughes facing Ian Kinsler with one down in the bottom of the fourth. Kinsler grounded sharply to Alex Rodriguez his first time. Three balls and no strikes.
Well, this Rangers team has been known to swing 3-0 and do some damage 3-0. And Kinsler's hit some balls hard in the series, even though his average is down. Loves the ball middle of the plate in.
Third walk of the night issued by Hughes, one of those intentional. And here's David Murphy.
That's twice. Both pitchers got a one-pitch out and came right back with a walk. It's almost like a gift when they give you a one-pitch out. You attack the strike zone knowing that's almost a free strike the next pitch.
Murphy caught looking his first time.
Well, the Rangers have shown that they are going to run early and often here against the Yankees. They have 9 stolen bases this series. That's the most ever in a postseason series versus the Yankees.
Kinsler stole 15 in the regular season. Popped up for Posada. 2 down.
Sure, he'd like to have that over again. 5 straight would have been 6 straight out of the zone. He swung at a ball, and those are the kind of pitches that help you out as a pitcher. Reset the fact that you haven't even come close to the strike zone, and now you got 2 outs with a runner on first instead of potentially a big inning.
Here is 36-year-old Benji Molina, the oldest of the catching Molina brothers. Jose's 35, Yadier's 28.
Also known as the Yankee killer, Benji Molina. 4 home runs in the postseason versus the Yankees.
Molina flied out his first time. He's 5 out of 13 in this series and has knocked in 5 runs. And here was the shot in Game 4. Huge 3-run homer as the Rangers took a 3-1 series lead. Yankees taking Game 5, and now here we are in Game 6. Breaking ball tapped foul. And Hughes out in front 0-2.
That's a little better. Hughes is starting to get that breaking ball down. That'll be the key for him against this team. Rangers are a freewheeling club, like the fastball up in the strike zone. Every hitter likes the hanging breaking ball. Nails painted by Posada, so his pitchers can see the signs just a little better. Flick of the thumb, throw to first.
Molina tired of waiting and steps out as we are doing 0-2 pitch, and Jorge Posada will talk to him.
You know, with as much as Texas runs, I'm surprised we haven't seen a few pitch outs. Something in counts where they take advantage of the 0-2, 1-2 counts as good as anybody, looking for the curveball in the dirt, the slider, the off-speed pitch.
Especially when your manager's a former catcher. You would think to be more apt to call that pitch out.
As is the bench coach, Tony Pena. Kinsler's already been picked off once in this series, and he got back in there on his belly. Now Posada wants time. Is it just me, or has it been a few minutes since we saw a pitch?
Well, it's interesting that speed on the bases slows down the game.
You're wondering if you saw something different there. You didn't. It's not a misprint. They went down with 2 to try and get the runner to think that that was a curveball and threw a fastball. I mean, the runner's looking in to try and get any advantage he can, and sometimes you have to change the signs even with the runner on first, because traditionally the guy on second can clearly see what you're doing. And what he gave him there, Ron, was the fist. In some cases, it could be a pitch out for some teams, but there it looks like that's the hold. Get the hitter to call time. You're trying to change your timing to the plate for the base runner.
Well, the problem you have here, though, is Hughes is keeping the base runner close. He has held the ball. He's taken his time, but the last 2 0-2 pitches have been right down the middle with fastballs. Result, pitch count up.
The count remains 0-2 to Benji Molina, hitting with 2 out and a runner at first here in the bottom half of the 4th.
Every run is precious. You have to keep the base runners close. We talked about this season. The success rate against Posada, the Yankee catchers, and the Yankee team has been outstanding. We've got to try to change it in the postseason. 88% success rate.
Kinsler on the move. as Molina goes down swinging. 4 innings in the books in Arlington in Game 6, 1-0.
MLB postseason on TBS is presented in HD with 5.1 Dolby Digital Surround Sound. Brought to you by BMW, the ultimate driving machine. This is MLB postseason on TBS in high definition.
And now I'll turn it over to the Gecko.
Thank you, sir. As we all know, Geico has been saving people money on RV, camper and trailer insurance, as well as motorcycle insurance. Sorry. Technical difficulties.
What about this?
What's this one do? Maybe that one.
Okay, let's keep rolling. We run motorcycle insurance?
Take 15 minutes to see how much you could save on motorcycle, RV, and camper insurance.
The American League Championship Series coverage on TBS is brought to you by DirecTV. For the most sports, period. Call 1-800-DirecTV. And by BlackBerry.
Top half of the 5th. Rangers ballpark in Arlington. Alex Rodriguez leads it off for the Yankees.
Start getting about this time of the game. It's nervousness for not only everybody, but the next day's starting pitchers. There's only one pitcher that knows he's going to pitch no matter what happens tonight. The other one's hoping to pitch.
There is Andy Pettit, who would face Cliff Lee if there is a Game 7. Rodriguez lined out his first time, best defensive play of the game, as Elvis Andrus climbed the ladder to flag it down. Three balls and 1 strike. Curtis Granderson has been the only base runner for New York. Has reached on walks both times. Caught stealing once and then erased in a double play in the 4th.
That's a pitch that when he is locked in, he does not swing at 3-1.
Count remains 3-2. Kobe Lewis has talked about the pressure of the postseason and saying he's got a reality check as far as that concerns. He said pressure is moving your family to Japan like he did to play 2 seasons and not knowing what that was going to be like. That ball to left center field, and that splits the outfielders. David Murphy picks it up, and A-Rod is at second with a leadoff double in the 5th.
Nice hitting by Alex Rodriguez. Got a 3-2 slider from Colby Lewis. And the thing about Alex, he is so strong. He can be even fooled on a tough pitch down and away, and almost with one hand deliver that ball to the left center field gap. Murphy had a little problem with it getting it back in, but just a double for Rodriguez.
So the Yankees have the tying run at second for Lance Berkman. Berkman flied to center his first time.
Rodriguez with the lead at second. And that ball's hit well to right center field. Nelson Cruz back. Hamilton at the track makes the play. And Rodriguez tags and trots to third. It's time to talk, brought to you by Charles Schwab. Moments ago, we talked to Ron Washington, the Rangers manager, about the night so far for Colby Lewis.
Well, you know, he's spotting his fastball pretty good, and he got a good slider working tonight also in his changeup, you know. Granderson has looked like so far the one guy he can't seem to make the pitches that he want to make on, but you know, as long as he can keep the ball down and able to put his slider where he wants to, I think we'll be in good shape.
Ron, you were very animated when Dave Anderson, your third base coach, held up Andrews, but he scored eventually. Big run for you guys.
Well, it was a huge run right there, you know. And anytime you can get on top, you know, it's definitely better for you. We had some more opportunities, and if we can just keep getting them out there, something good will happen for us.
Thank you, Ron.
Thank you, guys.
That ball gets away from Benji Molina.
But Swisher was hit by the pitch. It bounced once and hit Swisher in the batter's box, it looked like to me.
That's what Molina is arguing. That's what Washington's going to argue. Because as it stands, the game is tied. If that ball hits Swisher, they're at first and third.
There's a curveball from Colby Lewis. You can see it hits him right on the shin on one bounce. He even reacted from it hitting him. And of course, Alex, you got to play it out. The ball gets by Molina. He's going to come and score. And even reacting to getting hit, Swisher knows now that since it's not called, I might as well just pretend that I wasn't hit. One hop off the shin, left shin. And change directions. That's why I got by Molina.
Swisher had an at-bat in New York where the ball appeared to hit him on the pants leg and he didn't react and nothing was called. But watch his reaction after the ball hits his shin.
And it changes direction. That's why it goes between the 5-hole there from Benji Molina. I mean, no one of the umpires on the bases saw that play.
Put it in the books as a wild pitch that scores Alex Rodriguez. And the game is tied at 1.
Well, back to my theory of you can only replay things where a run has scored on a play. That would be a good one to replay.
A tapper. Lewis gets him by a step.
I mean, it was obvious up here. It's got to be tougher in the trenches, but still. Ball, when it bounces, hits off the shin, redirects underneath Molina, allows Alex Rodriguez to score. No other umpire helped Brian Gorman, the home plate umpire, with this play, and it's a shame for the Rangers.
Well, a ball doesn't change directions like that when it hits the ground. The catcher's going to know that, obviously, and that was his big beef. He's like, look, I'm moving to where the ball's going to go. It went opposite.
And on that ball by Swisher, Rodriguez wouldn't have scored. It'd be 2 outs. He'd still be at third base.
Here's Posada. So in the regular season, in a game at Tampa Bay, Derek Jeter had a ball hit the knob of his bat, and he sold it for a hit by pitch. Here, Swisher is hit by a pitch and sells it for a wild pitch.
You remember in Game 4, Swisher was up. This ball brushed his pant leg, and it should have been a hit by pitch. Ever since then, he has hiked up his pants and wearing them a little higher, so he doesn't have that flare anymore.
0-2 to Posada. Down the first base line and off the glove of Moreland. Posada will be at second. That ball kicked up. And Moreland just able to get a glove on it.
And Posada's at second.
Hanging breaking ball by Colby Lewis. When you put that dry stuff on the field, you never know what's going to happen, but that wasn't the case. It hit the bag. Once it hit the bag, it went over the glove of Moreland, who had a chance, and he's shown a great range in this series. But a nice break for Posada. If that didn't come up, I think it would have been a double down the line anyways.
So the go-ahead run is at second with 2 out for Marcus Timms. Timms popped to short his first time. He's knocked in 1 run in this series. And Posada's out there at second for him with 2 down. Eric Holland getting loose in the Texas bullpen. He's been effective in a couple of outings.
That's how crucial these outs are. 10 minutes ago, Colby Lewis was throwing a no-no. Now the bullpen is up.
It's by a point earlier in a regular season game, no one would be up. I mean, it's the way it works.
Straight back and out of play. A ball and 2 strikes to Timms.
Well, one of the things the Yankees haven't done hitting-wise is driving in runs with 2 outs. 2 for 21 with 2 outs and runners in scoring position against the Rangers.
Fouled off at the plate. Stays 1 and 2. Posada scored a run the other day on that crazy play on the throw from right field, and C.J. Wilson threw the wild toss to the plate. Yankees were kidding, saying Posada was like Ricky Henderson, just going to run till somebody tagged him. Nobody did. Timms waves at it for the 3rd out. But the Yankees tie the score. Sports fans, listen up and hear what some of the biggest names in sports have to say about today's hot topics, like Phil Simms on illegal hits in the NFL or Cal Ripken on team chemistry in the postseason. Check out Behind the Mic, presented by Allstate, exclusively on SI.com. Bottom half of the 5th inning in what is now a tie game. Game 6 of the ALCS. And here is Mitch Moreland, who led off the 3rd with a walk against Phil Hughes. So the Rangers score their run on a ground out in the 1st inning. And in the 5th, the Yankees score on what was ruled a wild pitch. Actually a ball that bounced up and hit Nick Swisher in the leg and carried away. And Alex Rodriguez scored on it, 1-1.
We mentioned Jeter and Swisher now. The Lee Strasberg School of Acting is in New York City, Ernie.
The 1-1 grounded on the right side. Cano makes the stop. Hughes over there, but Moreland's going to be safe. Posada backing up on the play.
Well, this is one of those kind of plays that you will see that wouldn't happen probably with Mark Teixeira. One, he would have probably got to the ball, and if he doesn't, he would have held his ground at first base. Makes it a difficult play here because you have to hit a moving target, and Phil Hughes at first base, and Robinson Cano not able to do that. Hughes got over there awfully late.
Now here's Elvis Andrus. Rangers leadoff hitter. Doubled in the bottom half of the first and scored the only Ranger run. Rodriguez in on the grass at third. Hey, Rod, you see him creeping in, and Andrews steps out.
Well, here's a pitcher. You're trying to figure out what they're going to do. I mean, you never assume they're going to bunt in this situation. You got to throw a quality pitch and hope that he might sacrifice here and give you an out with a runner on second.
Got to bunt this ball to Berkman. Less experience at first base than A-Rod at third.
Bunts it back to the screen.
One of the things that happens for leadoff hitters who are very fast, they spend all their time trying to learn how to lay down those bunts for base hits. Sometimes it's hard for them to stay in that box, not move their body, and totally sacrifice themselves to move the runner up.
I always felt there was a little gap between the pitcher and the first baseman charging straight at the second baseman. You could sometimes punch that bunt by him if you want to get a base hit.
Well, this is a part of the game for the Rangers. Ron Washington and Elvis Andrus. 17 sacrifice bunts this season.
Joe Girardi and his bench coach Tony Pena. Andrews takes this time. A ball and a strike. Moreland at first after an infield single. The third Texas hit.
But at some point, if you're Andrews, you got to make either A-Rod or Berkman pay for charging too hard and pull the bat back and do what's called a slug bunt or something. You know, you swing and get those guys from not charging so hard.
Last at bat, Ron Washington put on the hit and run after Moreland had walked.
There goes Moreland. Reaches out and taps to second. They did it again, Ron.
Well, sometimes you say, well, this is not very good hitting. This is great hitting by Andrews. A real pitcher's pitch. And what you have to do when you're called the hit and run, you have to get the ball on the ground. It doesn't matter where the pitch was. Nice by Elvis.
No, Elvis put him in play, man.
So the go-ahead run at second in a 1-1 game, and here's Michael Young. He's 0 for 2.
About the scenario, who's possibly hit their 5th home run first. Well, if there's always a gap or an open base at first, it certainly isn't going to be Hamilton, because the Yankees have showed they're just going to walk him. Excitable walk, but a walk nonetheless.
Young, who just turned 34 a few days ago. In a big spot here in a tie game and a runner at second. David Robertson loosens in the Yankee pen. 1-1. Posada with the nifty backhand. Keep the runner at second.
It's always the most difficult thing for a catcher. Calls for the fastball in. Ball thrown on the other side of the plate. Catchers assume that a pitcher is going to be able to hit at least part of its spot, get it close enough to the inside. Totally missed there by Hughes.
Right back to the mound. Moreland goes to third as Hughes looked at him and then made the play to first.
Well, not really a play here for Alex Rodriguez. Could not get the third on time. The prudent play is to get the out at first base.
Well, they're going to walk Josh Hamilton again, but remember last time this happened, ball one went to the screen.
Well, if it wasn't part of the rules, you might put someone behind Posada right now. You can see Hughes now throwing that ball a little crisper. That's always better when you're trying to intentionally walk the hitter. We said who was going to get the big hit. The MVP candidates, Cano or Hamilton. Looks like the Yankee game plan is to not allow Hamilton a chance.
Hamilton singled his first time, which put runners at first and third. But now has been intentionally walked in his last two trips. So first and third with two out for Vlad Guerrero. He knocked in the only Ranger run with a ground out to second in the first. He popped up to second in the third. And that ribby in the first was his first of this series. We're in game 6. We're all tied. Runners at first and third. Center. Randerson back. He won't get there. That ball is off the wall. 1 run scores. Here comes the throw. There will be no throw to the plate. Josh Hamilton scores. And it's a 3-1 Texas lead.
Phil Hughes, jumped all over by Vladimir Guerrero. He's been doing it all season long for this team. 2 outs, RBIs, 52. That led the American League.
The guy who had not knocked in a run in this series has knocked in all 3. And this one knocked out Phil Hughes. $50,000 roaring here in Arlington as we send it down to Craig Sager.
Well, it's been a great night for Vladimir Guerrero, and it all started when his mom, Altagracia, cooked his favorite meal before the game tonight. In fact, she cooked it for all the Latin players, not only on the Texas Rangers, but also on the New York Yankees. And I'll tell you what's in it. 15 pounds of rice, 20 pounds of meatballs, and 8 pounds of beans. So this is what Altagracia Guerrero cooked for her son tonight, and so far he's come through, driving in 3 runs. Okay.
And the Rangers back home, nothing like home cooking, as they lead it 3-1. Nelson Cruz steps up with 2 down, and Guerrero at second. What a huge 2-out double by Guerrero. In tight to Cruz. 1-0. Robertson has worked in games 2, 3, and 4, and here he is in game 6. Trying to keep the Rangers right where they are.
But Robinson's had 2 good appearances, one poor one, when he gave up 5 runs in that 9th at Yankee Stadium.
A ball and 2 strikes. Well, the strategy worked the first time they tried it in the 3rd. Walking Hamilton with 2 out. Guerrero popped up. This time, he made him pay with a 2-run double.
Well, Phil Hughes thought the first pitch, John, was a strike with his slider, but he hung this pitch.
Yeah, it definitely, first pitch was a strike, but you got to come back and make a better pitch than this right here on a hitter that you know is going to be attacking anywhere close to the strike zone. At some point, he's going to have to heat up Cruz. He slowed him down with 3 straight breaking balls. Get him thinking slow, slow, slow. We'll see if Robinson and Posada decide to throw a fastball and get it by him.
Just did get a piece. Ball and 2 strikes. The 1-2. That ball is drilled. Granderson on his horse. That ball is gone! Second home run of the series for Cruz. 5-1 Rangers.
Tried to come in with a fastball, caught too much of the plate. That ball down is right in his wheelhouse. And a long shot to left center field. Texas has been better than the Yankees with 2 outs and runners in scoring position. 8-24 now, and that big home run.
The only...
That's been the most restrained reaction from Ron Washington all night. Lined fair into the corner and left. Kinsler can trot into second with a 2-out double. You saw him in the dugout, now staked to a 5-1 lead.
Yeah, this knuckle curveball just hangs over the middle of the plate. A guy who loves it in there pulls it down the line. And part of the problem with the previous at-bat, everything that Dave Robertson throws cuts. And you could see that he wanted the ball up, but he threw it in and it cut down the middle of the plate. One of those things you got to play off your strengths, maybe go away with the ball that's cutting off the barrel of the bat. But right now, the Rangers taking advantage of every mistake in this inning that built a 5-1 lead.
28 2-strike hits for the Texas Rangers in this series.
before his normal time. It all started with an infield single by Mitch Moreland. Then a couple outs. Then an intentional walk to Hamilton. Then it all broke loose. Guerrero with a double. Cruz with a dinger. Kinsler with a double. Murphy's 0 for 2.
The Yankees don't make a comeback. They will look at coming in to this ball game. Their pitcher's ERA in the series was 6.55. It's about to go up.
And what's amazing is you never know what is going to lead to a big inning. A harmless infield hit, maybe get over late. All the strategy was right. Walked the MVP type guy, pitched to Vladdy, and it came down to one pitch hanging in the middle of the zone, and the Rangers took advantage of it. And they took advantage of it with extra base hits.
Pop foul behind third, and Rodriguez doesn't have room. 2 balls and 2 strikes. You mentioned, Ron, that ERA of 6.5. That would be their highest in all the ALCS they've played. It was 5.17 back in 2004 when they led the Red Sox 3-0 and lost it in 7. Here they're trying to come back from a 3-1 deficit. And they've got an uphill battle on their hands here in Game 6. We're doing 2-2 to David Murphy. That ball is lined toward the foul pole, but it's going to be bending foul. 50,000 on their feet here, not ready to sit down.
If you look at this series, Ernie, it's been the 12th time that the Rangers have had what we call a crooked number inning. That's huge already here in the 6th game. It's hard to that's hard to overtake. 4 runs here in the 5th.
For the fans here, that's not crooked enough. A squibber to third. And Rodriguez will tag Kinsler for the final out, but not before some 5th-inning fireworks by the Texas Rangers. Vlad Guerrero with the 2-out double. And Nelson Cruz going yard. It's 5-1. This American League Championship Series coverage on TBS is presented by Capital One Venture Card. We move to the top half of the 6th inning. In a New York minute, it went from 1-1 to 5-1 Texas. And Brett Gardner leads it off. Bunts it foul. Remember Game 1? Of this series, it was a 5-1 game, Texas, in the 8th inning. And this was Brett Gardner's hustle play that ignited their 5-run rally. Here in Game 6, it's the 6th inning in a 5-1 game, and Gardner leads it off.
Not in the bag yet. 52 times, first in the majors, the New York Yankees scored 4 or more runs in an inning.
Gardner was called out on strikes his first time, which ended the 3rd. Lewis has struck out 3. And he's walked a couple. Granderson both times, but with no damage.
Well, he led all the starters in shutdown innings after the team has scored. Let's see if he can respond.
In foul territory, a lot of Rangers give chase, but nobody has a shot.
I don't want to put too much pressure on him, John. This is the biggest shutdown inning in their franchise history. How about that?
Yeah, no pressure.
Well, the way you do that is you get this speedster off the base. I always felt like the first out was so important. It just kept you from feeling like a big inning might start.
And he's got the disruptive, as his teammate C.J. Wilson calls him, Brett Gardner. To second. Kinsler knew he had to hurry and got it over there. One down. So if you're Kobe Lewis, then you're taking that deep breath.
Yeah.
The exhale, one down.
But then you do it all over again. You keep telling yourself you know you're not going to pitch long into the game, or at least the feeling is you're not going to pitch long into the game. You want to keep getting outs. It's so important to grind on every pitch from this point on. This is what you want to be. This is the position you want to be in.
Here's the top of the New York order and Derek Jeter. On a hop to Michael Young. 2 up and 2 down.
You're so right, John. In the postseason, it's almost like you have a bucket behind the mound. All you're trying to do is fill it up with outs. You hope you can get it as full as you can.
Lewis went 5 2/3 in his other start in this series. He is at 5 2/3 right now and leading 5-1. And here's Granderson. This is the guy he's struggled with the most. Granderson has worked a couple of walks off of him. 1-0.
This is a huge out because of all the Yankee hitters. It's Cano on deck that can get them close the quickest.
He's ahead, 1 ball and 2 strikes. That is what you call a shutdown inning.
The American League Championship Series coverage on TBS is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15%. Call Geico at 1-800-947-AUTO. And by BMW, the ultimate driving machine.
Bottom half of the 6th inning. Rangers ballpark in Arlington. Texas trying to advance to the World Series for the first time in franchise history and leading by 4. Harry Wood, the 3rd New York pitcher.
Well, if you're Joe Girardi, you're hoping Carey can get you 2 innings and that the Yankees can creep back into it, and then you start bringing in Mariano Rivera territory.
Bobby Cano will handle that easily at second for the first out. Tonight's pitching comparison brought to you by Liberty Mutual. These were the starters, Phil Hughes and Colby Lewis. Lewis still going strong. Phil Hughes did not get out of the 5th.
Well, he pitched awfully tough. He battled his way through some tenuous moments, and he made pitches. And the one pitch that he didn't make with 2 outs, Ron, it really cost him, obviously, the that inning to stay in there.
That was the double by Vlad Guerrero with 2 out that broke a 1-1 deadlock.
It's almost like he was a victim of the Yankees game plan. If they decided to walk Hamilton and not face him, then he knew that he would have to get out Guerrero all night long. He wasn't able to do it.
And after the big double by Guerrero, David Robertson came on, and Nelson Cruz lit him up. 2-run shot for the 5-1 lead. Here's Mitch Moreland. Hit that on the button, but Granderson's got plenty of room. 2 up and 2 down.
Well, what makes these games so interesting from the start, you know, and everyone's wondering what you're going to get. It's hard to pitch perfect, and you have to go into the mindset, hopefully your team can score some runs, but you almost have to pitch perfect. That's your mindset, saying, I will not lose. And Phil Hughes almost did that. I mean, he battled, and yeah, 1 pitch. You go back and go in a regular season game, I survive it. I'm down 3-1. I can still pitch in the game and still come back, and the team can win it for you.
Here's Andrews with nobody on and 2 down. He's 1 out of 3. Doubled and scored the first Texas run in the first.
You know, a lot of times what happens also, we don't talk about the pressure of the other pitcher. Lewis has just pitched better, put more pressure on Hughes. Sometimes you fold.
Rodriguez throws across. 1, 2, 3 inning in the 6th. We head to the 7th. TBS this November. Welcome to college. For these 4 freshmen, the rush is on. Don't miss the series premiere of Glory Days, November 16th at 10, 9 Central, only on TBS.
I looked in a thesaurus, and there's another way to spell that, so it's fine with me.
Well, we move to the 7th. Robinson Cano leads it off. If you got to face this guy, this is when you want to face him. Nobody on.
When you look at this game, Kobe Lewis has been outstanding, but I think that he has to get this game as deep as he can. The bullpen for the Rangers has been spotty at times, especially their control. The more outs he gets, the better chance they get to get this game to Feliz.
Didn't mean to, and almost took out A-Rod in the on-deck circle. Cano is 0 for 3. Let's go down to the field. Craig Sager for a Bank of America game break.
Well, in the National League Championship Series, Jason Worth hit a 9th-inning home run. That provided a 4-2 cushion. Roy Halladay got the win, and the Phillies now take that series back to Philadelphia. San Francisco leads 3-2. It'll be Jonathan Sanchez against Roy Oswalt tomorrow on Fox. EJ.
Thank you, Segs. Yeah, Oswalt has started and relieved in that series. Joe Buck and Tim McCarver will have the call of Game 6 as that series moves back to Philadelphia. A-Rod swinging at the 1-0. And David Murphy tracks it down. So San Francisco with the lead in that series, but Philadelphia, when they had to, got it done last night.
Well, that's exactly what we thought it was going to be, a real pitching-rich series. Buster Posey has been outstanding. Cody Ross has had the series for ages, and just a well-contested. It's going to be interesting to see it go back to Philadelphia, where they have one of the more unique home field advantages in baseball.
Berkman to the gap. That ball tailing away from Hamilton. And it's off the wall. Hamilton goes down on the warning track. And Berkman motors into third.
Well, he's getting up and running to his position, so I think the natural tripped in left center field going after that baseball. Nice hitting by Lance Berkman, a fastball up and out over the plate. And we've already seen against Minnesota his power to left center. I thought he hurt his ankle there for a second, but got up and ran to his position. Just tripped over that left ankle.
He was smiling afterwards, but the Yankees have a runner at third now for Nick Swisher. He bats with 2 out. And he's 0 for 2. That's to left. That'll be easy for Murphy. The Yankees get a runner to third, but can't score him. It's time to stretch in Arlington. It's also time here deep in the heart of Texas to honor America.
We ask you to please rise and join with the New York Yankees, the Texas Rangers, and all of Major League Baseball as we pause to honor the men and women of our armed services, both at home and around the globe. Tonight, we invite you to join in singing God Bless America with 2010 Miss Texas, Ashley Melnick.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with light from above. From the mountains to the to the oceans, why without God bless America, my home sweet home. God bless America, my sweet home.
This American League Championship Series coverage on TBS is presented by Capital One Venture Card. Bottom half of the 7th inning. Game 6 of the American League Championship Series. Rangers are 6 outs away from going to the World Series for the first time. There is plenty of baseball to be played here in Arlington. Michael Young leads it off against Kerry Wood and lines the first pitch into left. A stand-up double. And the first hit of the night for Young.
We talked about the defensive positioning. The entire outfield played to right field for Michael Young. He jumped on that first pitch fastball, drove it down that left field line. You won't see Brett Gardner in your picture for some time. Nice try by Alex Rodriguez to his right and just out of his outstretched glove.
You can tell from the crowd reaction that Josh Hamilton is being intentionally walked for the third time tonight. Well, the first time that was tried tonight, it worked. Vlad Guerrero popped to second to end the third inning. In the fifth, Guerrero made him pay.
Well, after the walk to Hamilton, just outstanding hit in 1-0 count. Jumping on a curveball. The clock's out.
That made it 3-1, and then Cruz followed with a two-run shot. Hamilton in the record books in the ALCS. Guerrero didn't mean to. The runners move up to second and third. Turned away in self-defense and grounded out.
Is that supposed to be a productive out?
Well, here's Nelson Cruz with runners at second and third, and he will also be given the free pass.
Well, you got to try to get out of this inning with only one out with a double play ball. That's why you're walking Cruz, much to the chagrin of his crowd that wants to see Cruz go deep again.
Ian Kinsler will come to the plate with the bases loaded. Jabba Chamberlain gets loose in the Yankee pen.
Well, for Kerry Wood, obviously a very important battle here, but he's going to have to get his breaking pitches over and some swing and miss stuff. Get Ian Kinsler on the defensive swinging rather than the offensive swinging that the Rangers have been all night, taking advantage of a lot of pitches over the middle of the zone.
Well, Kinsler has a chance of redemption. Picked off in game one by Kerry Wood, now facing him with the bases loaded.
Rangers trying to add to a 4-run lead. One out. And a strike to Kinsler. Hit hard to left. Gardner makes the play. And Young tags and scores the 6th Texas run. That ball was tattooed.
If you're Kerry Wood, I think I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to bury a ball up to free up some other pitches. But at that point, Ron, I think you've got to go to swing and miss stuff. You got to go to your slider or curveball again. And we haven't seen much of it out of Kerry Wood. A lot of fastballs, and the Rangers are not missing it. Great at bat for Ian Kinsler.
Runners at first and second now. 2 down for David Murphy, who takes a strike. The 4, 5, 6 hitters in the Texas lineup have done all the damage tonight. Guerrero's knocked in 3, Cruz 2, and Kinsler now 1. Rangers lead 6-1.
Colby Lewis now with a 5-run advantage. The 7, 8, 9 hitters are due for the Yankees in the top half of the 8th. Andy Pettit wants one thing, the ball tomorrow. Cliff Lee wants one thing, champagne tonight. Not that Cliff wouldn't take the ball in a Game 7. But if things stay as they are, there will be some party in Arlington tonight. It's 6-1. Full count to Murphy.
John, you mentioned that Lee wants the ball. He wants it in Game 1.
He's going to get it no matter what. It was Andy that was really trying to find a way for his team to give him the ball. He was either going to get it tomorrow or Game 1 in one of the National League cities.
Murphy to right. Swisher back. And he's got it for the 3rd out. But the Rangers add to their lead here in the 7th.
Snatching stuff, Oh, what is going on in here?
It's okay, relax. Watch this. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hey, Dave.
Wow. Is that your agent?
It's the jingle. Try it.
No.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
With the sandwich.
Oh, yeah. And the girl from 4E? And can I get a hot tub?
Nice.
Find out what else State Farm agents can do for you at yagent.com.
7 innings in the books. Let's take a look at tonight's Nissan game summary. Game 6 of the ALCS. Colby Lewis, biggest start of his life. And he has responded. So has Vladimir Guerrero. Had gone through this first 5 games of the series with no RBIs, knocked in 3 tonight. 6 outs separating the Rangers from their first trip to the World Series. Jorge Posada leads it off.
Only Yankee run scored on a disputed wild pitch.
Strikeout for Colby Lewis. 1 down in the 8th.
What was the culture that Nolan Ryan was trying to change here a couple seasons ago? Get his pitchers, starting pitchers, to go deep into ball games.
Fouled away. No looking over your shoulder. No looking to the bullpen to bail you out.
The Darrens are up in the 8th. Oliver the lefty. O'Day the righty. 0-2 to Timms. Fans holding up 4. The number of outs remaining. Here's Gardner. Count even. Gardner 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a ground out. Jim Reynolds says he held up.
All year long, all this big right-hander for Texas did is not give up a lot of hits, strike out a lot of guys, and walk a few guys. So far, that's been the formula here. He has been outstanding in the strike zone. Only 3 hits given up, with the blemish of Granderson walking him a couple times. What a performance.
If he gets Gardner here, do you automatically go to Feliz in the 9th?
I don't. He's pitching too well. Why change it?
3-2.
Pitch count is down. He's stronger now than he was in the first couple of innings.
When you're pitching in a situation like this, guys, and the crowd is amped like they are, what is that like?
Well, the first thing you tell yourself is not to overthrow and get too carried away. He's not doing that. He's staying well within himself. There's an incredible adrenaline rush that you want to stay on attack and make that crowd as loud as possible, and he's done a nice job. Just don't overthrow.
A 2-out walk to Gardner. Mike Maddox will meet with his starting pitcher.
I think what can happen sometimes also, John, follow up when the crowd is this loud. You've struck out the first 2 hitters. All you have is strikeout on the brain. You got to wipe that away too. Just outs. Outs are more important.
Yeah, all Mike's doing right here is, he could see how disgusted he was that he walked him. He's just. I use the word reset a lot because that's what you got to do. Yeah. You got to reset the brain to say, okay, let's go. Just get this guy out.
Will face Derek Jeter, who's 0 for 3 and hasn't gotten the ball out of the infield tonight. Grounded to short, grounded to the mound, grounded to third.
That being said, John, reset. But if he doesn't get Jeter here, this will be his last hitter.
Let's not forget, from the 5th inning on, pretty much, there was bullpen activity for the Rangers too in a 1-1 game. So he's held his own. He's put himself in a nice position. If he can get this out, the crowd's going to go nuts. His teammates are going to go nuts. Good night.
He's ahead 0-2.
And I don't think we can ever forget in these games that are well pitched in the postseason, Benjamin Molina's got to get a lot of the credit also.
Wait for the NBA on TNT is almost over. It's LeBron, Wade, Bosh, and the Heat versus the Celtics with KG and Paul Pierce and Shaquille O'Neal, and the Rockets and the Lakers on Premier Week, presented by Autotrader.com in 4 days on TNT. Opening night, Tuesday. Bottom half of the 8th inning. Mariano Rivera is on for the Yankees, trying to keep the New York deficit to 5, and he faces Benji Molina. What a night for Colby Lewis. What a start. 8 innings in the books, holding the Yankees to 1 run on 3 hits. Between innings, Ron Washington and Colby Lewis. Neftali Feliz is loosening. The kid closer. Now Ron Washington and Brian Gorman.
Looks like there's a cap in right field.
Let me say something about Ron Washington too. You know, we have these pregame meetings with both managers, and I tell you, when you talk to Ron Washington, there is a measured, quiet intensity to the man when he talks about things that are close to him. A resilient man, whether he's talking about how the Rangers gave him a second chance after the admission of cocaine use in March, or whether he talks about 5 years ago how Katrina left his home with 7 feet of water in it, and how he has rebuilt that place and still lives in it in the offseason. And when he talks about this Texas Ranger ball club and how they come out and play baseball, and that's all he wanted them to do tonight, and they lead it 6-1 in the bottom half of the 8th. Molina reaches out, but Swisher's there for the first out.
He's rebuilding his home, rebuilding his life, and he's rebuilt these Texas Rangers.
So the first thing he did when he got back to his place after Katrina was get out the pressure washer. Erase all the lines from the outside, all the spray painted numbers that investigators had seen and written on there. He wanted no vestige of that, and has had to work hard to rebuild what he could. He said he still has some work to do. He'll do it in the offseason, but the house still stands. Ball and a strike to Mitch Moreland. Walked in the 3rd, singled and scored in the 5th, flied out in the 6th.
Well, I still go back, Ernie, to that old-timers game in Minnesota and how every player was on the top step and how he explained to us that he wasn't just showing up to not embarrass himself. He was showing up to show his hitter he still loves playing the game.
And he responded with a couple of hits in that Legends game at Target Field. And he slightly pulled hammy
when he was making a play in the outfield.
Moreland lays off, 2 balls and 2 strikes. You mentioned earlier Moreland's had some impressive at-bats against this guy.
2 hits in the series against Rivera. No one has ever gotten 3. Seeing a player grow up right in front of your eyes. They traded Justin Smoke to the Seattle Mariners to get Cliff Lee. Moreland might be the player that plays first base from now on.
On a line, but right at Jeter. 2 down. You are watching the American League Championship Series coverage on TBS, presented by Capital One Venture Card. Game 6. Rangers leading 3 games to 2 and leading this game 6-1. Vlad Guerrero's come up big. So has Nelson Cruz. Colby Lewis has come up bigger than anybody wearing the home whites of the Rangers. What an 8 innings of work holding down the New York Yankees. It is 6-1 with 2 out. And Elvis Andrus takes a strike. Talked about a pitcher being on the mound in this kind of a setting and the adrenaline rush. What's it like in the dugout when you're getting this close to something you've been chasing all year?
It's just undescribable, because one of the things you want to be in this situation, then you're almost surreal. You can't believe it, and you want it to go faster than it does. Hopefully for the Rangers it will in the next inning.
To Cano at second. 50,000 seats here. None of them will be used in the 9th. Here comes Feliz. This American League Championship Series coverage on TBS has been presented by Capital One Venture Card. Top of the 9th in Arlington. Curtis Granderson takes high from Neftali Feliz, who was 21 years old when this season started. Now he's an old 22 with 40 saves in the regular season. And a 1-1 count to Granderson.
I'm going to venture to say we will see 100 miles an hour in this inning before it's over.
How about a 6-game series and your closer for the Rangers doesn't have 1 save opportunity?
He falls behind 3 balls and 1 strike. Granderson was ready to take his base. The count full. From 1961 to 71, they were the Washington Senators. Never went to the postseason. For the last 39 years, they've been here in Arlington. Won their first series over Tampa Bay after being knocked out 3 times by the Yankees. Now they're 2 outs away from going to the World Series for the first time in franchise history. Here's Cano.
Well, for them to do it, they just had to, all they had to do was beat the team with the best record and then beat the defending champs. So quite an accomplishment for the Rangers if they pull this off.
Took a little off, 97.
This is get me over fastball.
On the ground wide of first. Feliz gets over there. Nice play by Moreland. 2 down. 1 out away. And almost poetically, Alex Rodriguez comes to the plate with 2 outs in the 9th. The man who signed a 10-year contract for $250 million and played here for 3 years, 2001 to 2003, with 156 homers and 395 runs batted in. He's their final hope.
There it is. The 100 miles an hour.
A strike away. The Texas Rangers are American League champions.
Texas kid, and I'm proud.
39 seasons as the Texas Rangers, and Natali Feliz with a strikeout of Alex Rodriguez ends it with the exclamation point. As the confetti flies and the T-shirts proclaiming their AL championship are donned, we go to Craig Sager. Sags.
I'm with Colby Lewis, who pitched the game of his life, shutting down the Yankees on 1 run, 3 hits through 8 innings. The biggest stage of your life. You couldn't have performed better. What was it like to be out there on the mound in front of this great crowd?
You know, I got a little too overamped there in the 8th, and they were chanting my name, but it was really, really cool. These guys stepped up big for me tonight and put how many runs? 6, 7 runs on the board, and it's just one of those deals that I don't know. I'm speechless. I mean, it's one of those things that I never thought I'd be in this position, and I'm very grateful for all these guys out here to put me in this situation.
You were originally drafted by this organization. Injuries, you were released 4 other times. You went to major league teams. They cut you as well. You couldn't find a job last 2 years in Japan. You come back here, go full circle. You told me yesterday it'd be nuts if I thought you were going to be here. What's it mean with all the heartbreaks, setbacks, roadblocks that you've gone through?
You know, it's just one of those things that after my son was born, I kind of just, it just clicked. And, you know, getting an opportunity to go to Japan, and very grateful for that, and very grateful for all the Texas Rangers organization to bring me back here. And I just want to say a quick hello to my family, my wife, Jenny, and I just love her, and I just want to just say thank you to everybody that's showed up here tonight.
Well, you, Jen, and Kate were looking for a permanent home. I think you found one here. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And with me, the man who represents this organization, Michael Young. The franchise's all-time leader in hits. There's a sign in the dugout locker room that says, "I trust my teammates, I trust myself." What does that mean tonight?
It means the World Series is coming to Texas. I mean, this is an incredible feeling. These fans have waited longer than we have, and I know how badly we wanted it. I can only imagine how they feel. So we're all in. Part 3 is done. We're going to bear down on part 4.
Over 1,500 games, 11 years waiting for this moment. You'd never been in the postseason. Now you're going to the World Series. Has it been worth the wait?
Totally worth the wait. Totally worth the wait. It's been an organizational effort from top to bottom. We got new ownership in place. Our fans are going crazy. Everyone's done a great job. I mean, it's just been a complete effort. Everybody in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, they deserve it. We're fired up, and we're ready to go play.
All right, thanks a lot. Congratulations. Back up to you, AJ.
All right, thank you very much, Craig. Final score in Arlington, the Rangers take Game 6, 6-1. Congratulations to the Texas Rangers, the 2010 American League champions. As the ginger ale is flying, they do that for Josh Hamilton. His long struggle with substance abuse. No champagne to be poured on him. And just like they did against Tampa Bay, it's ginger ale for Josh. Coming up on our post-game show, we'll bring you more celebration, interviews, and reactions, and the trophy presentation. TBS has been your exclusive home for the American League Championship Series. After the break, stay tuned for Inside MLB presented by Captain Morgan. Remember to drink responsibly.
The American League Championship Series coverage on TBS is brought to you by Captain Morgan. There are captains in every crew. Calling all captains. Drink responsibly. By Verizon. This signal is yours. Wield it to transmit anything you want. Verizon. By MasterCard, the preferred card in Major League Baseball. And by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun.
We welcome you to our Inside MLB presented by Captain Morgan. It's the postgame show here on TBS. Texas Rangers have just completed a victory lap here at Rangers Ballpark in Arlington. And we send it down to Matt Weiner. Matt.
Hello, Texas. After nearly 40 years here, the World Series is coming to Arlington. Here to accept the franchise's very first American League Championship trophy, Team President Nolan Ryan. Managing General Partner and CEO Chuck Greenberg. General Manager John Daniels. And here to present the trophy, Honorary American League President Jackie Autry.
39 years ago, a young man by the name of Nolan Ryan left the California Angels, Gene Autry's beloved California Angels. He came to Texas to pitch. I think it's only appropriate that Mrs. Gene Autry gets to present the William Herridge American League Championship Award to Nolan Ryan.
Nolan, you're such a part of Texas baseball. What does it mean to you to bring a World Series here?
Well, our fans have waited a long time. This organization has waited a long time. And this team coming out of spring training was on a mission. And it's unbelievable the resiliency they had and the hard work and all the things that we went through. But I think it's a credit to our organization, John Daniels and the staff that he put together, and Ron Washington and his staff, and then the players. And so I just want to say I'm proud and honored to be here tonight. Thank you.
For all your accomplishments on the way to the Hall of Fame as a player, you only got to pitch in the World Series as a 22-year-old in 1969. You're back.
It's unbelievable. You never know where life takes you. But to be here tonight, I can honestly say that I probably have a better appreciation than I ever had.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Chuck, after the prolonged bidding process, you officially only took over this team in August. This isn't supposed to be this easy.
Hey, you know what? When you got a ball club like ours and an organization like ours and fans like ours, you know what? Let's get used to it, Texas. Let's do it every year.
John Daniels, you put this team together, going back to the trade that brought Elvis Andrus and Neftali Feliz here, in more recent years, the Josh Hamilton deal. In the last year alone, guys like Vladimir Guerrero, Benji Molina, and of course, Cliff Lee. When did you think you had a contender that could pull this off?
I want to recognize a bunch of our scouts, our development staff, all our players and coaches out here. These guys have absolutely killed it. We're a true organization, and we've done everything for all of our fans. 54,000 here loud, and everybody back home. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, John. Ron? You've always been so even-keeled with this team. You talk about taking what the game gives to you. What is the game giving you tonight?
They gave me a bunch of guys that show up every single day, and they leave their heart on the field. They love the game of baseball. They love when all these fans show up here. And tonight, you've seen exactly what they worked hard for since February, and they deserve it. They're the greatest bunch of guys I've ever worked with in my whole career.
So many great stories on this team. Colby Lewis is as good as any of them. He was pitching in Japan last year. He just won you 2 games at this ALCS. What did he show you tonight?
Well, he showed me exactly what everyone showed me since we started playing baseball here in Texas in 2007 when we started. He went out there tonight, and he certainly gave us everything he had. He showed the heart. He showed the grit. And he made everything he had to do out there tonight. He got it done. And he got it done for every single guy, every single fan, every single person that had anything to do with the Texas Rangers. And we all did it together.
Congratulations, Rob. We do have one more trophy to hand out here. Jack Yawtrey is back for the presentation of the American League Championship Series MVP trophy to Josh Hamilton.
Ladies and gentlemen, there were a lot of MVPs in this game for the Texas Rangers. Josh Hamilton just happy to get the lucky straw. He's the 8th outfielder to win the American League MVP award. He hit .350 with 4 home runs, and he's well deserving of this award. And they were scared of him because they kept walking him.
Four home runs, 7 RBIs. You were supposed to be slumping back in the ALDS. Seems like a long time ago now. When did you know you had your timing and your stroke back?
Well, first of all the glory goes to God, Jesus Christ. Secondly, I love my teammates. I love them so much. Any of these guys could have got this award. I'm happy to have it. But at the same time, these guys, I don't want to talk about myself. I want to talk about them. Because we are the reason we're here.
Why are you here as a group then? Why is this group here then?
This group's here because they don't know how to fail. The chemistry of the team is something like I've never known anywhere. All the guys love each other. And we support each other. And we love the fans.
I know you'd love to keep this to the Rangers as a whole, but after all you've been through personally, how gratifying is it to be up here right now and headed to the World Series?
I'll be honest with you that in the 9th, A-Rod was up, and I'm tearing up out there. I'm trying to hold it back in case it hits the ball to me. But it means a lot. Everything I've been through and what God's brought me through to this point, to this group of guys, I'm so excited. I feel blessed.
By the way, you should have Cliff Lee available for Game 1.
That'll be really, really nice.
I would imagine so. Congratulations. Josh Hamilton, ALCS MVP. Ernie Johnson, let's send it back to you.
All right, thank you very much, Matt. What an unbelievable scene here in Arlington. And a very humble MVP of this series in Josh Hamilton, accepting the accolades that you say this entire team deserves as they win their first pennant and head to the World Series to face either the Philadelphia Phillies or the San Francisco Giants.
when you watch this team, when we came in to do this series, you knew the Texas Rangers were a good ball club. You knew they were a together ball club. But I didn't know how good of a ball club they were. They out-pitched the Yankees, they out-hit the Yankees, they out-slugged them, and they outran them.
This is a franchise that began play in 1961 as the Washington Senators with one winning season. Moved to Texas in '72, and Ted Williams was their first manager. There was nothing in the postseason. 96, 98, 99, they met the Yankees and won one game, lost 9. But then they beat Tampa Bay, and now they've beaten the champs, the New York Yankees, to advance to their first World Series. They say if you want to be the champs, sometimes you got to beat the champs. And to Ron's point, they got it done against the Yankees and knocked them off the throne.
Well, they did. They were fearless in everything they did. Even in their mistakes, they were fearless. They weren't ashamed to try to play the type of baseball that Ron Washington had Texas playing. And I can't wait for the next matchup. No matter who they face, it's going to be a great matchup, pitching against hitting. And we'll see if that same kind of trend continues for them. Fearless baseball. They really didn't win a close game, Ron. Right. That's because they just kept adding on and pouring it on.
You know, in the mid-90s, they were kind of a unidimensional team, one-dimensional. They really tried to outslug you every time they were on the ball field. But they've changed that culture here. They've changed it in a way that you've got to love. They play defense, they pitch, they have a strong bullpen, but offensively they can beat you in so many different ways, and the Yankees saw the brunt of that here in this series.
The Rangers so good on the road in this postseason, and it struggled a little bit in this ballpark. But here, as they came back for Game 6, they took care of business, and the game that Colby Lewis delivered tonight, 8 innings, holding that lineup down. It was only the hit by pitch, which they said was a wild pitch, that allowed a run to score for New York.
Yeah, it was an unbelievable job from a guy who was trying to make his manager's decisions as easy as possible, and he certainly did that by going 8 strong innings and turning it over to their closer in a 1-1 game in the 5th. We saw Ron, bullpen was going to be active, but he kept them quiet.
He brought his family to try to resurrect his career in Japan for 2 seasons, to take one more shot at the major leagues, and he goes back to the organization that drafted him, and now he is a hero in this series.
The celebration continuing here in Arlington, where the Rangers are going to the World Series for the very first time. And you saw the respect they have for Josh Hamilton, as they did in the Tampa Bay series. Only ginger ale on the field as they sprayed it. And there will be more partying to come in the clubhouse.
You saw that sign. It said David and Goliath. I think Texas was the Goliath in this series.
Well, Philadelphia can do their job. It'll be interesting to see Cliff Lee against maybe Halliday or Lindstrom.
But when you look at this team now going to the World Series, what's to stop them from hoisting the next trophy?
I don't think there's anything that can stop them. They have the team, the all-around team, to win a World Series. There's going to be another National League team that's going to have something to say about that. But if you are a team that has Cliff Lee starting Game 1, you got to like your chances.
I want to thank our coordinating producer for baseball, Glenn Diamond, our director, Lonnie Dale, our replay producer, Scott Cockrell, and also our vice president of production, Howard Zalkowitz, executive producer, Jeff Benke, the executive vice president and chief operating officer, Lenny Daniels, and the president of Turner Sports, David Levy. Those are just a few of the guys who made it happen on our end. Much thanks to the entire crew that capture images like these and moments like those we saw in the course of this 6-game series in the American League Championship Series. Much more to come as the Captain Morgan postgame show continues here from Arlington. Matt Weiner has made his way back to the set. We'll turn it back over to Matt and the gang after this on TBS.